Are you overwhelmed by all the things? If you feel like you're drowning in a never-ending to-do list, you picked the right episode to listen to today. I'm going to share a journaling prompt that I use almost every week to help me gain clarity on what's making me feel overwhelmed and how to move forward without getting stuck in overwhelm paralysis. But before we start, I want to read today's review of the day. This one is by SamTub8072, and I think it's really relevant to what we're going to be talking about today. She says, Sigoni does a great job of breaking things down so we can get more out of life without letting anxiety and perfectionism trip us up. I love this podcast and her YouTube tutorials. Well, that's exactly what I want to help you with today. I'm going to share this 3-word prompt with you, and then I'm going to break it down and explain why, what, and when to journal this out and how it will benefit you. If you have a quick moment, I would love for you to leave me a review too. Do you ever feel like your thoughts are tangled? You have an endless to-do list and you just don't have enough time? Do you crave a slower, more intentional life filled with peace, purpose, and joy? If that sounds like you, you're in the right place. Hi friend, I'm Sigoni, and this is Crocheting Through Emotions, the podcast for moms who feel overwhelmed, anxious, and disconnected from who they really are. Here we'll talk about renewing your mind, letting go of perfectionism, and finding simple ways to manage stress and anxiety. We'll explore tools like creativity, crochet, mindfulness, journaling, and even how faith can fit into the everyday chaos of motherhood. So grab your yarn or just a quiet moment for yourself. It's time to stop going through the motions and start crocheting through those emotions, one stitch at a time. Too often, we feel like we have to get all the things done at once. And with that thought, it creates overwhelm, especially if you're putting a lot on your plate. But the reality is, you are the one putting that pressure on yourself. You don't have to get it all done today, or even tomorrow. There's always places to be, people to see, more things to do, stuff to improve. So simply getting it all done is unrealistic. What you need to do is focus on what's stressing you out the most and start there. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Personally, I often get stuck in what I call overwhelm paralysis. And I'm wondering if you've ever gone through something like this or if it's just me. Overwhelm paralysis is where I feel like I have so much going on and I just don't know where to start. Sometimes it's because there are major changes happening in my life or things I want to improve, like a new meal planning system, or maybe it's our homeschool schedule, or I'm trying to fit in too many things into my week. Or my house is either a mess or cluttered when I feel like I just decluttered. So many things can make me feel this way, and sometimes I don't even know what's really bothering me. And that's one reason why this prompt has been so helpful. When I do enter overwhelm paralysis, my anxiety spikes. I get a migraine, my heart starts racing. Sometimes I cry, I get irritable, I snap at my kids over little things, and then I feel bad and I shut down. I literally sit on my couch with my head feeling like it's going to explode because I have all these thoughts circling around. Then I get even more mad at myself for feeling that way, and the negative self-talk starts. Things like, you always let this happen. Why can't you get it together? No one else gets like this. What is wrong with you? And I'm not going to lie. This happens often, even to this day. Have you ever felt like this? Now, the great thing about self-awareness is this is the part where I realize I have 2 decisions: to either let those thoughts win and give up right there, or to take a deep breath and journal it out. Sometimes I'll bypass this prompt completely and I'll just go straight into free writing or stream of consciousness writing, which I believe I talked about in episode 5. But a lot of the time, it's just these 3 words that help me stop and think about what's actually important for me to tackle right now and what can wait. So here's the prompt. go ahead and write this down. What's not working? That's it. What's not working for you right now? This is such a simple question to ask yourself. You can take these 3 words and absolutely go get started with just that. But I'm going to break it down and tell you why you should give this a try, when is the best time to journal this out, what you should write about, and how to move forward without the overwhelm. First, before you blow this off and say, I'm not a journaler or I don't like writing, let me tell you why you should try this. And we're going to do a little goofy visualization. When you write things down, you're able to process it better. This is how I like to think about it. Imagine that there are thousands of words bouncing around in your brain. They're hitting each other, bouncing up and down, side to side, doing backflips and cartwheels. I think you get the point. It's a mess. Did you know the average person makes around 35,000 decisions a day? That's a lot of mental clutter. Sorry, that went off topic. Back to brain visualization. You have all these words flying around, right? Well, when you write it down, those words come out of your brain and land on the paper, kind of like they're jumping off a cliff and into the water. I hope you're seeing what I'm seeing right now. So when you write, the words come out of your brain and land on the paper, which frees up the space in there, giving you more clarity and focus. Basically, less words equals less clutter equals more focus. So that's why you should give this journaling prompt a try. But when should you sit down to do this? Really, you can do this any day, anytime. But personally, I like to do this every Friday or Saturday. Usually, the things that are overwhelming me are the things that are happening throughout the week. So I notice what's throwing us off our schedule or the things that I'm not finding time to dedicate to, and it's fresh in my mind. So once you're ready to sit down and start journaling, write out the question, what's not working? And then if you want to dig a little deeper, you can also write down, what hasn't been working for me this week? What's making me feel overwhelmed? What's causing me the most stress? Okay, so you've got that. Now, what exactly should you write about? We kind of touched on this already, but the great thing about this prompt is it can help in any situation. You can ask yourself this in relation to the overwhelm in your home life or your work life. It can relate to routines, extracurricular activities, school, meals, organizational systems, and really anything. When you ask yourself this question, just see what comes out. You might be surprised. And lastly, and probably the most important, is not getting overwhelmed by your list. We can talk about journaling all day, but if you write it all down and feel more stressed, then we miss the point. So let's say you wrote a long list. It's great to get it all out on paper, all the things that are causing you stress or overwhelm. But you also have to be realistic. Can you make all of these changes this week? Probably not. If there's a deadline, get that one done ASAP and put everything else on the back burner. But if you don't have true deadlines, highlight the ones that are stressing you out the most and start there. Be realistic with the time frame. How long will this project take if you put all of your focus on it? What small shifts can you start implementing? How can you fit these shifts or routines into your day or your week? If you listen to episode 6, you'll know that one of the biggest mindset shifts I've made is telling myself, if I want things to change, I have to change the way I do things. Maybe write that one down for yourself as a daily reminder. Post it up on the fridge so you see it every day, all throughout the day. It's definitely hard to change routines or bad habits, but there's no growth without change. Now I'm going to break it down just a little bit more if you need more help understanding how this can work in your life. So I'm going to use my own journaling as an example because I did this just last week. A few things I have on my own list are creating a meal plan for my 11-month-old because it's been stressing me out not knowing what to feed him, He's just in that stage where he can eat some of the things that we eat, but not everything. So I still have to have a few meals here and there that are super easy to make. And I've also been trying to introduce new foods and not just baby food and blah, 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 blah. So it's just weighing me down. I also just started a Couch to 5K program with a group of women, and we run 3 days a week. And 2 of those days are in the middle of our homeschool day. So it has been throwing off our schedule. So I needed to think more on that. And finally, my phone has been yelling at me to clear up my storage because I have way too many photos on my phone, like over 10,000 to be exact. But we're not going to get into that today. So that has been really stressing me out. So total on my list, I have like 10 things, but those are the 3 that I chose to focus on this week. So after choosing the tasks or projects I need to work on, those were the only things on my mind. Everything else can wait until my next what's not working list. So that same weekend, I set aside the time to figure each of these things out, kind of like doing a further journaling or deep dive for each goal. And of course, you do not have to do 3 goals. I'm only doing 3 because I've gotten really used to this process. So if I were you, I would just start with 1. So I'm going to explain a little bit of what I did in order to incorporate these things into my week. So for the baby food, I created a small list of meals that I wanted to try making him. These were meals I could prep ahead of time and serve throughout the week. I already did this, and it was actually a huge success. When figuring out the run days, I decided to continue my Couch to 5K program, but I'm not running with a group of ladies anymore, unfortunately. It was really fun to socialize with these ladies, but not only did it interrupt our day, but sometimes they would go places that are like 20 minutes away. We would run in the hot, muggy weather in the middle of the day, and I'd have all my kids with me, 3 kids total. I'd have to shower after. So it was just a lot of time, and our whole day was kind of thrown off. So that's not to say that it wouldn't work for me in the future, but for now, I decided to run early in the morning or in the evenings when my husband's home and it's cooler. That way, it doesn't interrupt our school day. Plus, I'm not dying in the midsummer sun. And lastly, in regards to my wonderful phone storage, I went to the store and purchased a 2 terabyte hard drive to move all my photos on my phone over to my computer. This relieved so much stress for me because I was constantly worried about my phone crashing and losing 10 years worth of pictures. Terrifying. Why didn't I do this before? I have no idea. I'm actually still in the process of switching over all of my photos. I think I'm on like day 5. It's taking forever. But that's it. The goal for this journaling prompt is to bring forward the things that are stressing you out and allowing yourselves to focus on just a few of them at a time instead of trying to get it all done at once. Because when you try to do that, that's when the overwhelm paralysis hits. So set aside the time on the weekend and put a plan in motion. Small changes, small steps. Now it's your turn. Grab your notebook and ask yourself, what's not working? And let that be your guide. Thanks for sticking around to the end of this video, and I hope you found it helpful. Talk soon. Thanks so much for spending this time with me on Crocheting Through Emotions. If today's episode encouraged you, it would mean the world if you left a review. This small act helps other overwhelmed mamas find this space of cozy creativity. And if you've been wanting to try crochet as a way to slow down and feel grounded, my free Learn to Crochet Masterclass is a great place to start. You can find the link in the show notes. Until next time, keep creating, stay present, and remember, you are right where you need to be.